Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. I'm off to Daytona International Speedway from the hotel here. Landing at the airport, looking out the window at the track, I was like, okay, it's real now, here we go. So we'll see how this weekend goes. Blue Shock is the 30 horsepower class electric kart that will be running on the sprint course in the infield at Daytona this weekend. The final will be Monday, but I don't mind. It's Christmas break. Let's go. I got the Micron, I got the transponder, I got the GoPro mount, I got the memory cards, the batteries. Here we go. Welcome back to Closed Circuit Sports. I'm Drew Goldman, and this is going to be our coverage of Daytona Kartweek. It was an awesome experience. I really only went with the mentality of getting to experience a national event without a national size field. I had an offer for Ignite 206 as well. Bobby Krug down to St. Louis. Shout out. But that class is full. I mean full. 40 drivers on a 3/4 of a mile track. I am no wimp, but I want no part of that. Not yet. Maybe soon. We'll see. But still, I think there's just so many variables when you have that many drivers in the mix. There's enough when there are 12, which is about the size of the class that we ran. There were supposed to be 14, but by the end of the weekend, I think it was down to 12. We're gonna have the results at the end of every video, but I have not overly scrutinized them. The biggest thing about this weekend is getting in and out of all of these sessions safely. We're talking not breaking anything. We're talking not hurting anybody else. We're talking getting good video, not embarrassing ourselves, not breaking a wall, not breaking the cart, not breaking a leg. All of these things were on our list, but most importantly, honestly, was turning every lap that we were allowed to turn it, because these were electric karts, which meant no one trusted the technology, including the team that brought them. I really wish that they had stood on their business, which they absolutely could have. We had so much battery left. From the sprint track. We'll get back to this after the track walk. Infield of turn 3 and 4. Start the lap. Careen down that way. Bend it back up there. End up on that back straight. Take that back straight out and around. There's a wiggly back there, and then you end up winding your way back up this way, but it's over like 3/4 of a mile, so yeah. Let's see how this goes, especially if it keeps raining. The seat, the Micron, the camera, the transponder, everything is ready. We did the seat fitting with the rib protector on. Everything should work. It's a big track. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I have never driven a 30 horsepower kart before, and this one is electric. So, wish me luck. After this, because tomorrow, 3 practices, 1 qualifying. The next day, 1 practice, 2 heat races. The next day, 1 practice, 1 pre-final, 1 final. So, 10 sessions in the next 3 days. Lock in now. So as we were saying, these karts had 34 horsepower and plenty of battery. This was also the first time I ever had my name on the side of a kart. Meant a little bit more to me than I thought it might. This weekend was full of cool moments, man. Absolutely full of them. Flying into Daytona International Airport, looking out the window on the tarmac at the track, the hotel on Richard Petty Boulevard, all of it, all the little things about this weekend absolutely made it worth it. But little things about the sessions absolutely made it interesting.
Red is on, push to stop. This is to kill it. Yep. See? Yep.
For example, a major thread of the weekend was the weather. Wasn't anybody's fault. It is what it is. Florida weather. So be it. However, the majority of this division were arrive and drive. There were a handful who owned their own chassis with their own power supply and motor. They were allowed to fix whichever tires they wanted to their car, wet or dry. Those of us who were arrive and drive were not allowed to select tires. We were dictated tires by the team, and it was wrong so much of the weekend. It was so frustrating. This session was wet, but they didn't want to give us the wet tires because if it was going to rain again the next day, we would want the fresh rain tires tomorrow. We only had one sticker set of tires included in the package, so we were told. So,
10 laps or 10 minutes?
We want to save.
You know how to switch on off everything's there for you? Yeah.
Got it.
How long is the session? They show you the flags off, but I think if you start to spin around or something, you can't manage too long or something, just you can go in any time. There is the option if you go, when you spin around and
not helpful, artist.
you
Not helpful at all.
backwards, you can't get acceleration forwards. You need to stop completely, go-kart, and then it will go forward.
Okay.
So that's why it's still rolling, stop it, and then start.
Okay.
This will be my first opportunity to drive a go-kart on a wet track. In addition, it will be my first opportunity to do so on dry tires. This has happened to me in video games before, in The Sim before, but never in real life have I been forced to go out on the wrong tires. The situation had simply not presented itself.
How long does the battery last?
A couple sessions.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Do you charge it in between sessions?
they do. They can swap out the batteries as well. It's very cool. But yeah, battery on the airbox side and then motor. I'm just trying it out. So the guy with the gray hair, if he wanted to try it out, that would be the guy to talk to. Yeah, absolutely.
It's very intriguing.
It's X30 but electric. Yeah, man, I'm so excited. But with us all on dry tires, we'll see how it goes. They couldn't swap everybody out. Here we go.
My objective for this session is not to spin and to learn the track. Not pushing anything yet, trying to feel out what the brakes are, trying to feel out how the accelerator curve actually feels. Trying to see if the micron's working. all of these things. Basically, this whole session, I was on a roller skate. You see the way we splash in and out of corners. It was a very wet track still at this point. Puddles everywhere. Trying to stick to a dry line, but even the dry line was soaked. So we're just gonna try and avoid, there's one, the carnage. Keep it on track, keep it smooth, keep it together. It's not my cart, I'm just borrowing it. So it's my responsibility to bring it back safe. That's a very fast corner. And it'll only get faster over the course of the weekend. These are the slowest laps that will turn by far, even in the other sessions where something similar happens. There's at least one more of those. Two. I think there were two more of those. But anyway, only one session ended up being canceled due to the rain. But all of them, this was the point I was making earlier, were shortened due to anticipated issues with battery life. I kept coming into the pits, and I don't know if this is an indication that I could have driven harder or that I had a brand new power supply or what, but I kept coming in after a full session, pushing it with about 75% of my battery left. That would indicate that we absolutely could have turned a full 15-minute race on the road course. I'm not saying it could have done a 30-minute race, but it might have been able to do a 20-minute race on the full road course, which is what I had thought we were going to do. I thought we were going to be racing on the road course, the endurance course. However, the sprint course was more than enough for me, particularly in a kart with this much power. I found myself having to keep my chin to my chest. My neck was rather sore by the end of day 3. Because keeping your head down when you have constant acceleration the whole way around the track, constant acceleration, constant braking, or constant lateral G. But once we showed the data, it was pretty much constant G, because these are not the karts that you get at K1. There's no top end limit. It's just continuous acceleration. The torque was ridiculous. I've never experienced anything like these karts. I was being recommended there for an open visor. That was what that was. I cracked it because Florida heat and the rain and humidity meant that my visor was fogging, even though it's an anti-fog visor. But such is life. We push on. We do what we can. We close the visor. And we're trying to feel the kart now more than we're trying to see the exact apex. We're trying to feel the apex. Not ideal. Not ideal. But thankfully, this is only practice 1. And I was proud of myself for my mentality going into this weekend. I did not want anybody to have to get on a frickin' plane to come and get my ass out of a hospital in Florida. Thank you very much. So when I flew down from Indy, my goal was to get home in one piece. If that meant finishing a couple places back from where I might deserve to be, so be it. I would much rather, in my first national event, prove that I can be trusted with a machine of this caliber. To bring it home. To treat it right. To listen to it when it tells me that that's the limit right now. And that, yeah, they are faster than you right now. All of these things, you just gotta woosah and pace yourself and understand that it's a long weekend and that you want to get to the end of it rather than tapping out early when you paid this much for the experience to get out here with some of the best in the country and throw down in carts that typically are not arrive and drive. X30 is not arrive and drive as far as I'm aware. Granted, anything's possible with enough scratch, but I don't even want to think about what that would run. That'd be crazy. I have a quote for KA right now, and I'm like, bang for buck, probably better to go for the Sportsman shifter. Or stick down with LO206 for the meantime. It's LO206. I was watching all that racing this weekend. We were out at Daytona. Man, it was hot racing still. Even down at 9-10 horsepower. Crazy intense racing. These machines, with 34 on the stat sheet, sure did feel like it. I've been told they would simply keep accelerating all the way up to 100 if they had enough track. We were hitting about 60 miles an hour twice every lap. That's 100k. 100 kph. For the Brits and the other friends across the pond. The Micron was not working in this first session, the second, or the third. What it was doing was clocking laps, but it wasn't storing them as data to be analyzed or overlaid. It wasn't getting stored because, according to the Micron, my engine wasn't on. Aha, because electric didn't have an RPM lead. So, I went and talked to the people at the AIM booth. Rick was very nice, he was really cool. Tried to come up with a solution like maybe flashing it over to the EU version of the software. But before he could even get back to me with that solution, I believe it was Matt Stallcup is the one who showed me the debug mode, and that we could switch something around to track it by GPS, and so it no longer needed the RPMs in order to store and believe that the engine was on. It could just use the GPS and the speeds.
Gotta be closed, so right? You can have a small crack, but if you can fit your fingers in it, they're gonna call you for it being open.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Always be polite when you're getting pulled over, kids. See you for practice too.